Hi, David Paul here. So, I can talk loudly now. That last video I made was a bit sort of rambling and slow. First of all, I'd just woken up. And secondly, I'm not really that used to speaking English for the last 4 months. I haven't spoken much English at all here. Um, so I've been here for like 4 months in the Philippines. And I wanted to show you a place. I'd wanted to visit this and see how this place is getting on. And it was my old house. When I first came to the Philippines 25 years ago, it was post Marcos, and the place is very poor. And Ramos was in power. I can't remember his first name, Fidel Ramos or something like that. And he was doing his best. And Gloria Macapagal Arroyo came in next and boosted things up a bit. But the place didn't really take off until our mayor in Davao became president. Rodrigo Duterte. I'm a fan of Rodrigo Duterte. A lot of people don't like him, but you know, something like God knows how many, 80% of the population think he's great, whatever. He's an extremely popular guy, and he's done a lot for this country and for this city in particular. But it took him 20 years to really get this place moving. So Davao is kind of like the Singapore of the Philippines, and it's all down to him. I'm sorry if people don't like this, but it is down to him. So when I came over, there was this really run-down looking house, and there was like cinder on the front garden, and it was just there wasn't a flower nor nothing. So this house I lived in, and I didn't recognise it when I came back, and then I realised that I'm actually at the place where I used to live. I'm walking past it every day, and this is it here. Now, the guy who owns the house said, "Oh, I can video it and whatever," but that was it there, and it's now quite beautiful. But it's very, very modest house. But what he's done with it, he's made it very, very modern. It's got these sliding windows in it, patio door things. And a particular feature of this house is the front garden. Uh, he's turned it into a sort of outside room. Now in Asia, there's this thing called a laana or laanya, something like that, which is an open-sided room. And what he's done, he's made this, and he's got light materials above. That makes it a nice, cool place to be. But here's the rub, though. I asked him, I said, "Do you have aircon?" That's the test, you ask people if they got aircon. If they can manage without aircon, they're doing well. And if they can't manage without aircon, what it means is that they're having to resort to power solutions in order to make their environment acceptable. So that's all very well till the power system goes down if you get a brownout, or or you just can't afford to feed the damn thing because the electric bill's rise. And everybody says, "Oh, well, they're not too bad, electric bills. Hindi masyadong mahal, it's not very expensive." Well, it is, because energy bills all over the world are going up, up, up. So there's not a way out of this. You've got to have some degree of self-sufficiency with things, some degree of autonomy, or at least to reduce your needs so much that if the system didn't work, you'd be okay. My son lives in a flat, for example, that he can heat with oil lamps. When the heating system broke down in the flat, he just put his oil lamps on and he was okay. So that's a position in life where you want to be. So anyway, there's this house with its patio and its roof above and barking dogs and so on. But what's interesting, and this is where the James Webb Telescope comes in, this is the connection. As you know, I'm a physics teacher, so I take an interest in this sort of stuff. So, what we have here on the top is a sun shield, okay? and it's got bamboo, light material, so the thermal capacity of it is low, and its emission of UV radiation downwards towards the people who are sitting in the garden is also quite low, but it's not perfect. For example, the insulation material at the top is starting to get a bit aged, and so on, So there could be some physical insulation that would help there, as well as just this radiation stuff. So what's all this got to do with the James Webb Telescope? Well, in in looking at this James Webb Telescope, I discovered the statistics on it. I'm mixing values here like Kelvin and degrees Kelvin and degrees centigrade, but that's the way the guy put it to me, and I'm not going to convert them because it's sort of stuff that people are used to, the common man. But the one side of the James Webb Telescope is at 200 degrees centigrade, being blasted by solar radiation out in space there, and the other side is at -4. So what they've done is they've managed to construct a sun shield out of very light materials to knock out most of the radiation and create this absolutely fantastical temperature differential between one side and the other. So that says to me, well, you don't need to do all that. You don't need almost 500 degrees of temperature difference between one side and another. Obviously, for that device you do, but for a house, if you succeeded in that sort of endeavour to like 1/10 of the amount that they achieved, you'd be sitting cool underneath, and that's all you need to do. So that's where this insulation material I've invented came in, and then since the house building project that I was going to do got scuppered by my sister-in-law, that will never see the light of day. So I'm going to have to try and do that in Portugal and show people how to do it. I specifically got to show folks how to do it, otherwise it'll get done wrong and it won't work so well. So anyway, had that material been on the roof of this house here, it would have been considerably more cool underneath, and had it been in the roof of this house, it would have been probably so cool that the owner might not have needed to use the aircon. And that's what I'm aiming for, because we cannot keep adding more and more infrastructure to the grid system. It's too much of a burden for some countries to be paying for these things. We need more autonomous solutions to the problems. So the houses need not to have so much electricity to be more independent. So that's what I'm working on with my Portuguese house, to do that sort of thing. Now, a criticism here, and they do this all over the Philippines. The windows of this house are like coffee coloured brown. And the problem with the architect Jeffrey Bauer said that in the tropics there should be no glass at all. You should not have glass in your houses. But they still have glass. And in particular in this house, they've got these brown windows. Now the consequence of that is that radiation hitting the thing gets converted into heat and then re-radiates on the inside. So the place is not so bright, yes, that's okay. But you're still being bombarded by loads of infrared radiation, which is cooking you inside. So it's not the solution. What you want is high quality light, but probably less area of windows or open-sided windows where fresh air is allowed to flow through the house. People like Jeffrey Bauer, the architect in Sri Lanka, he said that a house should be one room wide. In other words, air should be able to flow from one side of the house to the other. And that's just about achievable with this house. And I do it with my house because I open up all the doors and windows so that lets the air flow through. And for the last 4 months, we've managed without aircon. So that's, how I would do that. So anybody building a house in the Philippines, considering building a house, cut down on the thermal capacity of the place so you're not cooking at night. And instead of what you're going to do about all these glass windows, and preferably not have them, just mosquito screens. This thing about thermal capacity here in the Philippines, they are building more and more and more and more concrete houses, and it's not the solution. And the immediate response I get from Filipinos is, "Oh well, termites will eat your house if you make it out of wood. It is not a durable material," and that's not entirely true if you use the right woods. But because they've harvested the wood so much, they don't have the wood resource. So the house I'm getting involved with in Agusan is going to be constructed from earth bags. So hopefully I'll be able to make some videos on that, or get some videos sent which I can include. That'll be made of earth bags, so all that is just clay. And clay has the property of absorbing and releasing moisture. So in the evening when the relative humidity just skyrockets in your house, because ironically it's getting a little bit cooler, the sun's gone down, the relative humidity just goes crazy. So it's very pleasant at the moment because the humidity is actually falling as the sun rises. And in the evening, it's doing the opposite. So all that moisture is coming out of the air, and just making it just hell. So you go and construct yourself a concrete box, which absorbs lots of heat during the day and makes you even more hot at night. Put aircon on, and you just get in a vicious cycle. So my other solution that I've been looking into over here is to just use less of the concrete. So you'll have the structural support parts and the parts in between, things like walls and stuff, construct them out of ferro cement. Now ferro cement can be as little as like 1 inch thick. So you've now reduced the amount of thermal capacity maybe tenfold. So it's made a tremendous difference. There you go. And that's it. So there's my rant on Filipino houses. Because as you can imagine, if you live in one of these small houses and the sun's beating down on you all the time, you're living in what I call a hell box, and you just adore this little house. They're beautiful little houses, in a strange sort of way. And the occupants must be sitting in there just cooking to death, and it's just so unnecessary. And also with thinner walls, of course, with ferro cement, you can then start to consider some insulation, and away you go. So back to my house. And ate. Tapos na ako. Oo. So, pupunta sa bahay. Ha? Ikaw? Si Apple gising. Yeah. Gising siya. Sige na. So that's it. Back home. What more can I tell you? Nothing really. Okay, at least na ko. I have to go. And that's it for now. Bye for now.